Right, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pumelelo Dlamini. It's been a minute. Today's topic, we're trying to answer a question on what is really eating your money. What is really eating your money besides you? Because it's you who does work and spend the money anyway. But however, before we dive down into the topic, I just want to ask you to just pause and click that like button. For this actually helps YouTube to suggest this video to other people that might need such information. Anyway, thank you so much for my new subscribers to subscribe, and you are just coming back for more, and I am back again for more for you guys. So maybe let's talk about money. What is money? Some they say money is a form of exchange, or it's a tool, or it's a form of exchange. However, this form of exchange also depends on what it buys or the price of what we buy. So money alone is powerless if it cannot buy anything. So there are two elements in this: is the money, the amount of money that you have, and the price that you have to really use that money to buy an item or a good and service. Let's say you're in a coma for the past 10 years and you just wake up today or tomorrow. When you're waking up in the morning, it rained more in order for you to buy this bread, and you are shocked. Why? Because the last time I checked, this was the exact amount that I used to use when I want to buy bread. And then, my friend, on that day, you will realize what's really eating your money. So in simple terms, just to answer the question, in simple terms, what really eats our money, my money, your money, at what we call inflation. So what is inflation? Inflation is the rise, or is the fluctuation, or is the change of the price of goods over time. Maybe in order to understand inflation and money, let's just go back a little bit. You remember that we used to buy sweets like with 10 cents. Our grandpa or our grandmothers used to buy something with a cent. Now you cannot even get a change that is a cent. Why? Because the value of the cent has actually decreased into nothing. How come that it decreased into nothing? Because actually, if I did have a cent, I would be like, here is my cent that I have. The difference is, my friend, is the price. So the price of goods are no longer worth the cent. So the money becomes useless. So the money becomes useless by that way. So this happens over time. For those gurus that have studied economics or accounting, they will know that when you counting for the future, you will discount the value of money so that you can determine what will be the value of money that I have today in future. However, we are not in class. This sort of like what we call inflation. It's what actually that takes our money. However, probably asking yourself, what really causes inflation? What causes the money that we work hard for, that we so love? What causes it to be useless sometimes? There are so many factors that really causes inflation. It might be global factors like the pandemic, because during the pandemic, there was no economic activities that was happening. Therefore, no one was spending money. Therefore, if there is no one that is actually spending money, which means probably maybe the goods that are being produced, some of them have to go to waste. Therefore, which means that money was created for it in order somehow to generate value, to be on the next person and the next person and the next person. And what really matters is what it exchanges. So if it just stays there, it has no value. It's like if you choose to put the money under your mattress, they used to say, and compared to somebody who will put it in a bank or into an investment portfolio, the one that put the same amount of money under the mattress, maybe 10 years from now, the money will be useless because it won't be growing interest compared to the one that actually invested or put it in the savings whatsoever. So it has to move. Money has to move. So if it doesn't, therefore it loses value. The other thing that actually causes inflation, I mean, most of us are experiencing it right now, is the increasing price of petrol. So the increasing price of petrol is actually the most thing that actually affect everybody, because when that happens, the goods that we use, some of them are being transported by trucks that actually needs petrol in order to transport these goods. Therefore, if the cost of delivering the goods increases, which means also the price of the item that the truck delivers, it will automatically increase so that the businesses can make profit. This is very important. Yes, we do complain about high prices. We do complain that things are becoming expensive. Somehow we the one who has to pay the price. But look at this. Let's say things were increasing, then we are complaining. Let's say business decreases their prices, which means now the cost of producing the goods will be higher than the price at which they are selling the items. Therefore, they won't be able to make money. When they're not making money, people are going to lose their jobs. When people are losing their jobs, therefore our GDP as a country, it actually goes down. Very important that we make actions to balance this, because once it happens, we will run into a problem that probably we cannot be able to solve, or it will take so many years to solve this problem. However, some of you might know, some of you might not know that the petrol prices, actually specifically in South Africa, there are some levies that have been put into the price of petrol, so it becomes more expensive. And the price of petrol, it's not the same in the country. Why? Because if you are living near the sea or the port, to be specific, if you are living near the port, the price of petrol will actually be cheaper than somebody who's living like let's say in Lebombo or in Joburg, compared to a person that is living in Durban, because there's that distance where goods have to be transported. I mean, even petrol itself, when it comes through the port, it has to be transported into another provinces, and that alone makes it very expensive for the price of petrol. Anyway, those are other factors that actually contributes into the increase of prices. Other factor that did factored into like this petrol increase that we are seeing is the war in Ukraine. We've heard about it. I don't want to go there. I want to drive this point now home in South Africa. What really caused the inflation in South Africa? What are other factors that caused inflation in South Africa? So we started looking at main events or events that actually happened in South Africa. If we remember last year, we had looting that was going on, and when that goes on, people, they were destroying infrastructures. So there were so many things that was happening, which means now businesses have to take the money and also like take the money and build the infrastructure in order for them to continue to do business. We are seeing some other business that have actually closed, which means people lost their jobs. Therefore, if that happens, at the end of the day, it's you and me that has to pay for that infrastructure, unfortunately. And the other event that actually took place that was so unfortunate.
The disaster unfolding overseas tonight in South Africa. Catastrophic flooding, nearly 450 people dead, some 40,000 people without homes. It comes after weeks of heavy rain and mudslides, taking out roads and bridges, wiping out entire villages. We reported on this last night here. 10,000 troops and rescue teams now searching for the missing. And ABC's Maggie Rulli has made it there to South Africa.
The rain relentless for more than 2 weeks, and today in the sunshine, the truth.
And the other thing that we're really facing in South Africa that is a pandemic on its own is the corruption that is going on. If you remember back when we borrowed money from China for the PPE, or the money that was supposed to help the people during the COVID-19, when that happens, we heard on the news that the money has disappeared. When that happens, which means that when the money that was borrowed, supposed to be used in a certain project, is no longer being used there, Therefore, which means we need more money. Therefore, we're forced to go again and borrow more money. Therefore, which means when the country is borrowing more money than it can produce, therefore, that's where it actually causes a recession. It causes the prices of items in South Africa to sort of like skyrocket. There are so many people that are unemployed in South Africa. Look at this way. If, let's say, at home you are 12 and there's only 2 people that are working, those people cannot provide everything, or cannot provide enough good and services in your home. Therefore, how do they provide good and services? So when they are getting paid, they'll have to take the other money, probably say give it your parents or your mother, in order for them to go and do things like make sure that the security in the house is okay, make sure that there is food, make sure that there is clothing. But this mother or this father of yours, instead of doing that, he takes the money and eat the money. In the long run, your siblings are going to suffer. In the long run, these 2 people that are working, they'll have to produce more money in order to sustain. But then the money does not really go where it's supposed to be. If we invest in infrastructure, it means, let's say we're building a bridge in Durban. When we're building a bridge, there's going to be job opportunities that are there. There's going to be accountants that are going to be hired in order for the project. There's going to be HR people that are going to be needed because now there is a job opportunity. So it goes a long way. As much as South Africa is one of the most developed countries in Africa, the things that we are doing now are things that are really hurting us, are things that are making you and me to wonder, what is it that is really eating our money? So all these factors actually are not really good for us, are not really good for the economy. The other example that I can just throw in with my many examples is, if let's say now you are working, as you are working, the country is not growing. When the country is not growing, do you know that we are supposed to, your provident fund, I think it's 90%, last time I checked, is invested into South Africa. The fund managers or companies that are managing your portfolio are not allowed to actually invest in other countries that are actually doing good, because we need to grow the economy in South Africa. But the people that are supposed to grow it, if they are not being responsible for that, which means your retirement is being eaten while you are working, while you are paying the tax. Because if we are investing on some things that does not grow, which means you're losing money. But if the economy was really, really growing, which means where they are investing, you are getting good returns in a long run. So small things that we really need to pay attention to, small things that we really need to understand. Because I used to say, if life is a game and you don't know the rules of playing the games, how will you know if you scored the goal? How will you know if it's the foul? So we need to understand all these factors in order to plan, in order to think ahead. But then, how can you actually make some changes during these difficult times? One of the things that you can actually do is to pause those big purchases, so that you can have some reserves to money. When prices are going high, you can be able to live. The other thing is to try and avoid credit. Try and avoid credit, because one of the things that happens during inflation times is that the government will increase interest rates. Why are they increasing interest rates? They're doing that because they're trying to discourage people to go and borrow money that they don't have. So they're controlling the demand and the supply of money. Money as well, it has to do with demand and supply. If there's too much supply of money, that also causes inflation. Because if there's too much supply of money, people are sort of like spending money any other way, not in a manner that will make the country to grow. Maybe this actually happens to you as well, because it does to me. If I have money, or if I know that, hey, I'm gonna get money, I tend to go to Google and type are looking for those properties that I cannot afford anymore. So you look you will look for holidays that probably you cannot afford anymore. So these are things that we need to watch. However, the other thing is, probably will be strange, you need to invest. Why am I saying that? You need to invest because if you check throughout, the stock prices of companies, even in the JSE, are going down, which means the stock price is going cheaper. So you need to invest. My other friend one day asked me, okay, since the price is going down, what must I do? Okay, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Anyway, I'm like, look, if you have 1,000 rand, probably divide 1,000 rand into 200. So when you are doing that, you will have sort of like 5 chances to invest on that stock. So when it goes down, you invest. When it goes down, maybe next month, then you invest. When it goes down, you invest your 1,000 into like 200, rather than having to invest it in one time. That is not really a good strategy. I've tried this during the pandemic. Those who know, they know that we sort of like got some good returns. So inflation is good and it's bad. Because it's good for those who really have money or who are saving, who have money to save. Because when interest rates go high, when they are investing, which means that they're getting a higher rate of returns of their investments or of their savings. But the one that is owing, yeah, it's not good news for them. That's why we must try now and then to try to sort of like avoid bad debt. So they ask, what is the bad debt? So bad debt is the one that actually takes money from you, and good debt is the one that actually you borrowed money, but what you bought, it's actually giving the money back to you, or it's giving sort of like value, or assisting you to make more money.